Hey folks, it's Mark Marin from WTF. Today I want to talk to you about Boost Mobile, offering reliable nationwide coverage backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Love your service or get your money back, no questions asked. Boost Mobile offers the coverage, network speed, and service you're used to, but at more affordable prices. Why pay more if you don't have to? You can get an unlimited plan for $25 a month that will never increase in price, ever. No price hikes, no multi-line requirements, no stress. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store or find them online at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 per month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Welcome to Movie Oubliette, the film review podcast for movies that most people have mercifully forgotten.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Conrad, and in each episode, we drag a forsaken film out of the oubliette,
Discuss it and judge it to decide whether it should be set free
or whether it should be thrown back and consigned to oblivion forever. We review the films others tend to forget. Come with us and open up the movie oubliette. Welcome to episode 182 of Movie Oubliette, the multi-time zone podcast for forgotten fantastical films with me, Conrad, getting ready to fly out to TIFF from Cambridge, UK.
Oh, exciting. And me, Dan, learning how to make mustard in Melbourne, Australia.
We focus on forgotten fantasy, sci-fi and horror films because we love a spooky, unrenovated house in the woods, midnight crop spraying and swimming with vampires.
Yes. Oh, Conrad, exciting times are fast approaching.
They are, yes. My annual holiday and film festival outing. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. Any films you're looking forward to?
Oh gosh, I haven't really looked at the schedule in a huge amount of detail, and it doesn't feel as though there are a lot of sort of headline horror movies this year, like The Substance last year.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping to find a number of interesting things in amongst the list. But yeah, you'll hear more. I mean, there's Dust Bunny, which is a film from Brian Fuller, the showrunner of lots of things like Hannibal, Pushing Daisies, yes. And he's made his first movie starring Mads Mikkelsen about a little girl with a monster under her bed. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. I feel like there's been a lot of imaginary friend monster movies recently.
Yeah, I don't think that's unfair. I think people are exercising their demons an awful lot at the moment.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. There's also Dead Lover, which is about a wily grave digger who falls for the one man who's attracted to her fetid funk.
Okay.
Doesn't sound good, does it?
Interesting premise.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, lots of exciting films in the schedule. So I will keep you posted, and Joe Lipsett and I will be recording some bonus episodes for our patrons, just like last year.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right, Conrad. Should we move on to the mailbag? What have our listeners been saying to us?
Yes. What have we been getting? Let me see. So lots of comments on The Hidden. James Salzberg, long-time listener, got in touch on our YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel.
Ooh, yes.
To say, so happy this one finally made it out of the oubliette. I was lucky enough to see it in the theatre and have been a fan ever since. Of course, this was on my nomination list several times. Carl McLaughlin rules.
Yeah, I do recall him nominating that, and I think it was high time that we finally discussed it.
Yeah, it was a good episode too. I enjoyed it. Wicked Person got in touch to say, perhaps you're not as big a nerd as I, so I thought I'd inform you that Claudia Christian is Babylon 5's sexy female lead, in the same category as Voyager's 7 of 9 and Farscape's Claudia Black, Battlestar Galactica's 6, and so on. I'd not seen The Hidden before watching it for this week's episode, but in the 90s, there were definitely stills all over Babylon 5 sites of the infamous red backsideless dress and the rather odd stripper moves on the stage. So when these scenes showed up, there was a flash of recognition and remembering being a fan of Babylon 5 in the earliest days of the internet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Claudia Christian, who played Brenda in The Hidden, the stripper, was a huge icon in this sci-fi series. I've never seen Babylon 5.
Yeah, I have not either.
Yeah, that was one I missed. And, of course, we heard from Serge of Cold Crash Pictures.
Ooh, hello, Serge.
Hello, Serge. And he said The Hidden clearly has lots of things going for it, including good production values and a cool premise. I kept thinking of movies it copied, only to realise it predates them all. But in the end, I found the characters just a little too thin for me to ever picture revisiting it. I would release it from the movie Oubliette, though. There's plenty of merit here.
I think Serge should watch The Hidden too for comparison.
Yeah, if you want thin characters, check that out.
Because that's on another level, for sure.
It really is, yes. Check out our Patreon episode where, as always, we review the shitty straight-to-video sequel to the main feed film. Oh my, yeah, that was fun. Yes. But yes, please do keep getting in touch and telling us your experience of the movies because we love hearing from you.
Yes, we do.
So, Dan, what are we going to be fishing out of the oubliette this week?
Okay, let's have a look. Wow, it's loud in here.
Noisy.
Yeah, I can't... What are all these chickens doing here?
That's weird.
There's this weird-looking double bass case. I think the movie's inside. Oh, okay, got it.
Oh, let's have a seance.
And I'm back.
Oh, did you pick up any eggs?
Not in this economy.
No, of course. So what do you have for us?
Yes. I have today Let's Scare Jessica to Death, a 1971 horror thriller film directed by John D. Hancock with writing credits from John D. Hancock and Lee Keim? With a cast of Zohra Lampert, Barton Heyman, Kevin O'Connor, Mariclare Costello, and Gretchen Corbett.
And what happens in this movie?
Yes. After suffering from a mental breakdown from the passing of her father, Jessica, after 6 months of treatment, moves to the countryside with her husband Duncan and friend Woody. Upon entering their new home, they meet Emily, a squatter who they surprisingly invite to stay for the night.
As you do.
Yes. Jessica starts to notice strange things around the town, including bandaged townspeople, Emily's striking resemblance to a dead girl in a 100-year-old photograph, a terrifying figure in the lake, and a mysterious mute girl in white leading her to a dead body. But are all these occurrences purely in Jessica's mind, or does Emily have a lust for men and blood that crosses over into the supernatural? We'll find out in the macabre Let's Scare Jessica to Death. After the break. And we're back to talk about Let's Scare Jessica to Death. This is going to be a double blind, right? Because we've both not seen this movie.
No.
Double blind.
The title does not suggest what the movie is.
No.
I honestly thought it was going to be 70s exploitation, torture, gruesome, video nasty territory.
Interesting.
It is not.
No, it's not. It's not Last House on the Left. It does have one of those oddly declarative titles that was so popular
It does.
in the 70s and the 60s, like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Who Slew Auntie Roo? Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Don't Look Now, which is
yes,
an absolute classic.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of those. And most recently, I Know What You Did Last Summer, which got a remake, of course.
Yeah, so this was not the movie I was expecting from the title.
No, it's much more of a classy film. So John D. Hancock wanted to make his feature debut. He'd done a much celebrated short, and he was offered a script which was titled something like It Drinks Hippie Blood, which was
Okay.
a parody movie,
Yeah.
a satire.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But he said that he would only do it if he could rewrite it and turn it into something that was more serious, more thoughtful, had a slower pace. And his inspiration was things like Polanski's Repulsion and
okay.
The Haunting from 1963 is definitely something that he name-checks a lot in interviews by Robert Wise, which, of course, we did in our first year, I think.
Yeah. It did remind me of The Haunting, actually. Some of the
Yeah.
scenes in the house, I kind of expected the walls to start warping or something, you know?
Yes.
Or like to hear. And it does rely on sound quite a bit as well, because I'm guessing it's a very low budget film, because in terms of effects, there's not much. And in terms of gore, there's barely any.
Yeah, no, it's $250,000 and shot in some 26, 27 days or something like that. So yeah, not a massive production. Very much has that independent 70s horror feel to it. Limited in scope, much more reliant on psychological terror than on gore and effects, although it does have some.
It does, yeah. But it does make you feel quite uneasy throughout the film, purely from the constant whispering. It's just like a lot of whispering. And I don't know. I mean, it works, but slightly distracting at times because it is throughout the film. And okay, I guess we have to sort of unpack the premise of it. So Jessica is suffering from some sort of mental breakdown that she had, some sort of schizophrenia or something. And so she is hearing voices or seeing things that she's not sure are real or not. And that's quite a good... I mean, I enjoy that approach into the movie because you have all these strange things, but you don't know, is she seeing that? Is she hearing voices, or is it actually happening? And then you have other characters confirm things. Oh, I saw it too. Don't worry, Jessica. Like, you're not seeing things.
Yeah.
So that was quite an interesting approach.
It was, yes. So you end up with her husband telling her that the things that she's seeing are real, which is a very tenuous situation for her, that she is constantly questioning herself, which you hear in the voiceover. She is constantly feeling as though she has to behave normal and she has to suppress the things that she's seeing and not mention them. So that's why I really like the narration, because it isn't expository. She's not sort of thinking, we're going to the countryside because I'm just been released from an institution. You know, they weave that in through other ways. What you're hearing is what's going through her mind. And a lot of it is, don't tell them, they won't believe you. That goes through her mind a lot. So even the people like her husband and her husband's friend Woody, that they're going to this remote farmhouse to recuperate or start a new life living off the land, very sort of post-flower generation, very hippie. Even that group of people, she's not safe with them. They're not supportive. She's worried that they won't believe her, that they'll think she's losing her mind again. And I feel so sorry for Jessica immediately, because as somebody who has difficulty with social anxiety myself, I could really empathize with that internal monologue that she's going through all of the time.
Yeah, because at first she thinks, oh, it's all in my head, it's all in my head. When she's at the dining room table and she sees all this blood on the plate, and she thinks, oh, it's blood, but she can't tell them because it's all in her head. But once she starts seeing real things that are also confirmed as real, like the mute girl, then she tries to warn people, like, hey, something is not right, But they just think, oh no, it's just Jessica spiraling again.
Yeah.
We should go back to New York so you can see a doctor kind of thing. And it's frustrating because you're like, listen to it. There's something going on in this town.
Yeah, and there definitely is something going on in this town. So I think it's an island.
Oh, is it? Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's that remote because there's a cove that the daughter of the household drowned in this cove in the 1800s, they learn. But the town itself is very hostile. It seems to be entirely populated by old white men.
Yes.
All of them seem to have strange bandages.
Yes.
And all of them are really unhappy to see them. Right from the guy that's driving the ferry at the beginning, as soon as they mention where they're headed, his face changes and he's just like snappy with them after that.
Yeah.
The townspeople that see them drive in are not happy to see them. So they really are isolated in this rural location, which piles on the pressure.
Yeah, it does. I mean, for me, that kind of felt very like horror cliche.
Yeah.
Like that always happens in slasher movies. A bunch of teens go out to the cabin in this town in the middle of nowhere and all the locals hate them. And I just thought, oh yeah, this is just it's just a horror cliche, right?
Yeah.
But there is a little bit more meaning behind it in this movie.
There is, yeah, and of course this predates the big slasher craze of the late 70s arguably, but really kicks off with Friday the 13th in 1980. And I think Friday the 13th steals a few moments from this movie.
Yeah, because that's the thing as well. Watching this film, there were a bunch of things about it that felt like it was just riding on tropes, but it does predate a bunch of films, which was surprising. I did think of, you mentioned Don't Look Now, maybe just the feel of it felt very Don't Look Now. It felt kind of dreamy and for the most part quite serene.
Yes.
Like, I don't know whether it's to do with the cinematography, which is just so beautiful. That opening shot is stunning.
Yeah.
With the sun and the reflection on the water and the mist. It's just beautiful cinematography. Also did remind me of The Sender as well, which kind of has a similar opening.
Yeah.
With the lake as well. So, and the music, I mean, we'll talk about the music more a bit later, but yeah, the music adds to this kind of very peaceful environment and feel to the film for the most part.
Yeah, and it goes at a leisurely pace,
It does,
the movie,
yeah.
but when it escalates, boy, does it escalate. So don't think that you're in for a boring, ambiguous time. When things start piling on, they really pile on. And it almost feels as though Jessica is a prototype of the final girl.
Right.
Because she spends a lot of the end of the movie running, but she is determined to win through, to survive, to escape this.
Yeah.
Even though it takes a toll on her. So that's fascinating, I thought, because the rest of the time she could be just the old-time horror movie cliche of the hysterical woman that nobody believes that will get killed in the finale.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, Eleanor does not survive the haunting. She succumbs to its evil. So this is quite interesting. Spoilers, watch the movie first before you listen to us.
Yes.
But Jessica does get out of this.
Yeah, she does.
Only Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile.
We'll give you a free year of service.
Free year?
When you buy a new 5G phone.
New 5G phone?
Enough.
But I'm your hype man. When you purchase an eligible device, you get $25 off every month for 12 months with credits totaling 1 year of free service. Taxes extra for the device and service plan. Online only.
You know how everything's a subscription now? Music, movies, even socks. I swear if it...
To continue this ad, please upgrade to Premium Plus Platinum.
What? No. Anyway, Blue Apron...
This is a pay-per-listen ad. Please confirm your billing.
Oh, that's annoying. At least with the new Blue Apron, there's no subscription needed. Get delicious meals delivered without the weekly plan.
Wait, no subscription?
Keep the flavor. Ditch the subscription. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
It's interesting, sort of the gender dynamic in this movie. Like, yeah, you have the hysterical Jessica who no one believes, even though she's right.
Yes.
And none of the men believe her. And then they all succumb to Emily's evil ways. I guess we should talk about Emily. So Emily is a vampire? Is that what she is in this movie?
Yes. Or a succubus, I guess, more generally.
It's not credited, but people have mentioned this is quite similar to that Sheridan Le Fanu novel Carmilla. So that movie that we did, Crypt of the Vampire, which was based on that. Some similarities. You've got this woman wooing, at one point in this film, wooing Jessica, and then it turns out she's a vampire and she's able to control all the people that she sucks blood from. Is that my understanding of her power?
I think so, yeah, but she doesn't have fangs. She's quite handy with a knife. I think there's that lovely scene when Jessica is looking around in the attic.
Yeah.
And she comes across a wedding dress and a knife.
Yeah.
Insert comment on marriage here. Yeah, so she carves gashes in people and then I think drinks from it is what we finally see. So everybody in the town has these scars. And I think the whole island or the whole town is under her spell.
Yes.
And she's been living in this farmhouse in the middle. So she is not a squatter. This is her house. She is Abigail from the 1800s. She is a vampire that's lived forever. And she's kind of luring Jessica in. She can hear these sort of whispers in her head, stay here, stay here. And she has that wonderful scene where they all have dinner around the table together and she starts playing her guitar.
It's a lute, actually.
Yeah. Is it a lute? Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's a hippie with a lute, cliche.
Yes.
And she starts playing this song that's called Stay Forever, My Love, My Love. Leave the world you know and stay forever. So she's just this evil, predatory succubus in this house that lures people in and drains them of their blood and controls them.
Yeah, it did kind of remind me a little bit of that TV show Midnight Mass.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, that also has kind of pseudo-vampires, I guess. They are vampires, I think.
Okay.
They're vampires. But yeah, and it has a very similar scene at the end as well. I don't want to spoil it for you, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing I found fascinating because you got that kind of gothic horror of the Hammer era and the classic Universal horror era. So some of that is in there, but it has this very modern twist of being a female-centered psychological thriller like The Haunting or like Repulsion or Rosemary's Baby, where a woman is being gaslit by her husband or not believed in any case. And you have a cuckoo in the nest that is slowly seducing everyone, but nobody can see it or nobody will believe it's going on, even though Jessica can see it.
Yes. And she, despite her mental illness, she's able to survive the whole thing as well. It was quite shocking as well. I mean, big spoilers, I guess. She kills Duncan?
Yeah, she does, with a boat hook.
Yeah. Pretty full on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't blame her, really. He's cheated on her. He doesn't believe her. And he's now an agent of evil. So I guess she may as well beat him to death with a boat hook and then drift off to hopefully a happier ending.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, so that they move into the house. Emily's there. She starts moving in on the men. So she ends up sleeping with Woody, and then she woos Duncan, and I guess they sleep together or something. They kiss at least.
I think they definitely sleep together because the next morning he is wearing a polo neck or a turtleneck sweater, and I think that's because he has a gash on his neck.
Yeah, because you see that later on. Yes. Okay. There were some things I wanted to talk about. So are there references to Adam and Eve? Because there's an orchard of apples.
Yes.
And Jessica picks up an apple, but then Duncan says, don't eat that, it's poison.
Yeah.
Is that an Adam and Eve reference?
Absolutely. It must be. It's probably one of the most blatant metaphors in the movie, but it works. It definitely works. They're trying to set up this little oasis of happiness, start afresh in this new place.
It's Eden, yes.
Yeah, and it's in an apple orchard. And And yeah, she goes for one of the apples at one point, and her husband slaps her hand away and tells her to leave it because it's been sprayed.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous.
I mean, it's an odd. I think the whole situation is it's not relatable to me because I didn't grow up in 70s. But Duncan blows his entire savings account to buy this house in the middle of nowhere. They have zero money. They're literally selling furniture that is found in the attic of this house to get money. But it also has an apple orchard. And Woody somehow knows how to fertilize apples with a tractor. He just opens the shed and is like, well, this is a piece of cake. I know what I'm doing. And next day he's just like driving the fields with spraying the I don't know. The whole situation felt like, well, I guess I didn't grow up in the right generation.
Yeah, this whole self-sufficiency, flower power 60s era of rejecting the establishment, the whole countercultural movement. But the interesting thing about this is very much in the time when that was dying a death. So when they were making this movie, one of the writers in the really useful booklet that comes with the Vinegar Syndrome edition of this, the 4K remastered version I watched, which looks stunning.
Oh, yes.
They mentioned that around the time they were filming this, the Manson murders were going through the court. So it was very much a time when the tide was turning in the US against the whole free love, flower power movement.
Hippie commune, yeah.
Because of the worst possible version of that and how horrific it ended up being. I don't think there's any mistake that they're driving a hearse with love written on it when they arrive at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
And his cello case looks like a vampire coffin.
Yeah.
It's a bass case, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. The bass case, I've never seen a double bass case that looks like a coffin. I mean,
no, you really do expect Nosferatu to unfold from it when they open it.
Yeah.
It's very much that, somebody said it symbolizes the death of hope that their generation held for changing the culture in America through non-violence and peace and love and sexual liberation. It's very much the end of that. But they're trying to create their own little version of it just to create a safe space and a safe future for Jessica.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. No, it doesn't. So what would you say that would be the theme of the film? This kind of the death of the hippie ideal?
Yeah, I think so. It's entering into 70s cynicism. The thing I find the most strange about the countercultural urges that they have. So they're sort of leaving behind New York and a job, and they're trying to be self-sustained on the land. The rubbing that Jessica makes, because she's into gravestone rubbings, of course, for some reason.
Yes.
Young girl driving around in a hearse doing grave rubbings. I mean, the film is just steeped in death.
Yeah.
She reads it out later, the inscription on it, and it's the grave of an African slave who, through his self-determination, manages to buy his own freedom and have a long and prosperous life. And they seem to empathize with this character. They see themselves in the same mode as the enslaved African people, just because they've left New York and the grind of a daily job to grow apples. And I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that comparison, particularly.
Yeah. I mean, I read something that someone was commenting on this film is they did portray these kind of not necessarily poor hippies moving out into the countryside and just buying a manor, essentially. But it was a trend to look like you were a hippie and you were living off the land, but you actually did come from like quite well-off families.
Yeah.
Like people that grew up in San Francisco and I guess the Bay Area and stuff. And yeah, it's just interesting that this person thought that this movie portrayed that quite well.
Yeah.
These supposed, living off the land hippies that aren't really hippies.
No, they're not.
It's just a facade.
Because Duncan, the husband, he used to play for an orchestra, didn't he?
Yeah, the Philharmonic,
in New
right?
York.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. She says he's a very important man. And you think, well, and you've bought this enormous house. You almost feel as though the reason that the locals don't like them is because they're sort of gentrifying one of their landmarks in a way.
Yeah. I mean, the house looks amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Talk about great location scouting. That's a great looking house.
Yeah, Victorian mansion. Where else to set your gothic horror?
Yeah. With that, I don't even know what you call it. It almost looks like a turret, but it's like a room above the house.
Oh, you've got to have an attic where you can find wedding dresses and knives and portraits with massive clues in them.
Yeah. I did think it was quite funny that the photograph, like, it's unmistakably Emily in the photograph. It's just her. It's clear as day.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt about it.
No, I don't know why Jessica hasn't looked at it more closely, because they sell it to an antiques dealer locally who then dies, I think, because Emily wants her photo back. Because she's trying desperately to persuade them, can't we keep this one or whatever? She tries to dissuade them and then they sell it anyway. And then lo and behold, the antique dealer is found dead shortly afterwards and the picture is hanging up in the attic again. Yeah. Yeah, don't sell off Abigail's stuff. It's just mean.
Yeah. I mean, I did like the antique dealer as well, because he wasn't like the rest of the townspeople.
No.
He was very friendly. He was, he bought their stuff. He was from New York. He was from the same street or something.
Yeah, he knew where they were from.
Yeah.
And he called them, refugees from urban blight or something. So I think he's a recent arrival.
Right. Oh.
Hasn't
that's
quite
why he died,
made Emily's hit list.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Now it's time for Random Trivia.
Okay, Dan, what amazing piece of trivia did you find in an antique store today?
Well, John D. Hancock, the director of this film, did you know he was the original director for Jaws 2?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think he got the job because some producer saw him do thing in lake grabs people, so he must be the ideal candidate.
Yeah. But he had an awful time, apparently, working on it. And he'd been working on it for months, apparently. And then he just got fired. He said that Jaws 2 was a very bitter, painful experience that took years to recover from. He was involved with the film for 18 months. And then, of course, Juno Schwark took over as director. And the script was rewritten as well. I think his wife was involved with some of the original script.
It's a shame, isn't it? I'd be really fascinated to see John Hancock's version of Jaws 2, because it ended up being essentially a teenage slasher Jaws.
Yeah.
Which I love.
That's right. You like it more than Jaws 1.
I do. Well, I respect Jaws 1 more than Jaws 2, but I watched Jaws 2 more than Jaws 1.
Right. Yeah,
I return to it more. I guess, you just want the junk food. But yeah, I read somewhere that he was fired because they looked at the dailies and he was creating this very thoughtful, slow, atmospheric art movie, and they wanted a blockbuster.
They wanted a slasher with a shark. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Basically.
did.
Yeah.
They did. So I can understand why, but I'd be fascinated to see an assembly of his footage. But I don't know whether he got enough on camera for them to do anything with. That's our trivia.
One of the other characters that shows up is this mute, ghostly girl in white. What's going on there? Like, who is she? At first you think she is a ghost. Like, you think, it's the figment of Jessica's imagination. It's just like a ghost figure, or maybe it is an apparition that she actually is seeing, but it's not a real person. But then it turns out to be a real person, and it's a girl, and she can't talk. Where did she come from? How is she related to the characters in this movie?
So it does feel like one of the bits that's most underdeveloped. And I know from reading about it that this was one of the two things from the original script that John Hancock was forced to retain, which is the woman in white, which he really did not want. But he did it anyway. So I think that possibly explains why it's fairly loose and not very well explained.
Yeah.
My interpretation of it is that she is one of Emily stroke Abigail's previous victims. She has a bandage around her neck. I think she can't talk because her vocal cords have been compromised. So she is, in one sense, a representation of Jessica's past because she looks like an unwell woman who's just escaped from an institution when she first sees her in the graveyard, because she looks away and when she looks back she's gone. So you don't know if she's real or not, but eventually she is proven to be real, and it's not really explained. She ends up dead in the double bass case.
Yes.
So on the other hand, she's a warning about Jessica's possible future. And I think you hear on the VO, I think you hear Jessica tell herself she was trying to warn me. So I think she's a previous victim that's just hanging around the island.
Yeah.
Trying to point people towards dead bodies and say, look, there's something going on here.
Yeah, okay. Because, I did feel like that wasn't explained that much.
No,
and
it's
I
not.
felt like there was going to be more backstory to her, or she would have more of a part in the story. But she really only shows up for two times, maybe 3 times, and that's it.
It's a good red herring, though, because when Jessica first arrives at the house, she sees a figure rocking in a rocking chair on the porch, and because of the position of a pillar, you don't see her face.
Yeah.
Now, that's actually Emily.
Right.
But you think it's the girl that you saw in the graveyard again. So she works quite well as a red herring that confuses things for a while.
Yeah.
But it's a bit messy.
Yeah. I did love the figure in the lake. I mean, I can talk about that in the movies a bit more, but the ghostly corpse or figure in the lake felt very familiar. But again, all these movies that came out much later. And just the idea of moving into a house and then you find out someone died there and there are like images or apparitions of that person are seen felt very familiar again. Like the whole movie did feel very cliche. But then again, it came out before all these other movies. I'm thinking of movies like, well, I guess, water-based movies like The Ring. The Changeling has a well, I think.
Yes.
The Uninvited, that remake, has a lake. I'm pretty sure there's a figure in the lake as well in that movie. What Lies Beneath, I thought of.
Yeah, I was
And
just
also,
thinking of that. Yeah.
And also Friday the 13th, even though that's a slasher. This is not a slasher.
It is a slasher, but it ends with the final girl drifting on a lake in a canoe, and then a childlike version of Jason leaps out at the end and grabs her.
Yeah,
But she might be dreaming that.
So this movie did come before every other movie that I've mentioned. And it's so funny because it does feel so cliche at times in this movie.
It does, yeah. But it's inherited a lot of things that John Hancock is trying to recreate, or it sort of influenced the type of movie that he wanted to make. Principally The Haunting and The Innocents, I think, as well.
Right, yes. I did want to talk about things I found, the negative parts of the film, I guess. I want to put it in the nicest ways possible. It does feel like an art film at times. It feels like this is what a film student would make type of film. Like, I'm sure there's lots of metaphor and symbolism, but some of it felt very low budget. Like some of the sound, it's not great. The ADR recording, it's not great.
No.
It's not well mixed. And like a lot of the interior scenes, the sound is so echoey. Like it's quite hard to hear what they're saying at times because it kind of just overlaps each other. It's definitely low budget.
It is, but it gives it that independent spirit that you get that makes it feel sort of edgy and dangerous because you don't know what could happen. Like it could tip into full-on exploitation territory, but it doesn't. The cinematography, as well as being beautiful, it does still have that sort of rough around the edges, captured moments feel to it. So it's using zoom lenses a lot to try and readjust the frame.
Yes.
Which feels very 70s.
Yeah, and you can see where they're like adjusting, like they're zooming out in the wrong place, so they've had to realign the camera lens. I get it. It's an indie film, it's low budget, but at times it almost felt like, I know it was scripted and well written and everything, but sometimes some of the conversations felt improvised? Was it just me? It felt very like forced almost. Like I've been to like live improv shows, and there's that sort of pause between like trying to think up what the next line is going to be. And that came across in this film at times with some of the conversations where it's like, this doesn't sound like a real conversation. It just sounds like they're making up on the spot, but they probably weren't. But that's the sort of impression I got.
No, it's an interesting observation. I think maybe it stems from the fact that Hancock was more of a theatre man, and many of his actors here were primarily theatre actors.
Yeah.
So it has that element to it. And also it seems to be going for more of a awkward naturalism as well.
I think maybe it's also the fact that I'm so used to modern films, whereas I love 70s films because they are quite imperfect and people actually look like real people as well. There's so many imperfections in everyone's faces and teeth and just the way they're talking, but these are real people. Like I felt like the 80s, they were starting to making people look out of this world, like extraordinary, like you would never see them on the street, whereas the 70s was still kind of in that gritty stage of being imperfect.
Yeah, I think in the 80s you start to get high concept glossiness and everybody does look perfect and live in beautiful surroundings. Everything's very glamorous and aspirational.
Yes. I guess we should really talk about the score because it's very interesting.
It is.
Of course, you do have 70s hippie acoustic guitar.
Or lute, as you said.
I'm not sure whether the lute was in the score, but it's definitely on the screen. Because it does sound like an acoustic guitar, but I could be wrong. Maybe it is a lute. There's some piano as well. But the most interesting part of the score is the synth.
Yes. So the songs and the acoustic guitar and the piano and all of that sort of stuff is by Orville Stober, who was a singer-songwriter who'd worked with Hancock before.
Right.
But he was paired with Walter Sear, who was a very famous synthesist. He was somebody who was distributing Moog synthesizers in the US when they were launched because he was a friend of Mr. Moog when he was developing his synthesizers, and I think had some influence over the size and shape and the features of those early synthesizers. And he created a studio that the likes of Bowie and Bjork recorded at in New York. It's one of the most famous music studios. So Walter Sear knows what he's doing. And some of the synthesizer, the early analog synthesizer stuff on this soundtrack is really great. Or it's right up my street anyway, because it's not trying to sound like an acoustic instrument. It's just creating very strange soundscapes.
Yes, it's not at all trying to sound like an orchestra, which, you often complain about with the synth clavier. There are some really weird tones that he comes up with and really strange cues that push the unsettling atmosphere of the film. And there are lots of weird pairings as well. And it's not a lush synth score. It's not 80s pads and washy ambient synth or moody tones. It's quite thin at times, but very analog, so it's still warm. But single synths playing cues. There's not a huge amount of layering, so it gives this film quite a, isolated feeling. Like it feels very sterile and, isolated, I guess. I can't think of another word.
You're very simple, very elemental, lots of low synth notes that have a resonant filter on them, so it goes really wide and rich and then back down to something that you can just feel in your gut. Yeah, I love that stuff.
And as well as that, there is, I think it's sampling, but I'm not sure whether or some sort of weird percussion. There's this kind of heartbeat stomping sounds that you hear, definitely towards the sort of third act of the film. It did kind of remind me a little bit of The Haunting, actually, with the sort of banging sounds that were heard in that movie.
Yeah.
But it has this kind of do-do, do-do kind of stomping, or I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. It sounds like stomping or banging on something with lots and lots of reverb and echo. But yeah, it's a really interesting approach to the score.
It is. I think that's actually part of the sound design, and I'll mention it in the Mooblies. And it's very reminiscent of The Haunting because she's lying in bed looking up at one of her grave rubbings, which has a face on it, and listening to this rhythmic banging. And I just thought, this is come straight out of The Haunting, where poor Eleanor is finding faces in the wallpaper. Very effective, though. Very unnerving.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coming to you live from the movie Oubliette Theatre, it's the prestigious Moody Awards.
Oh, yes, the Moody Awards, where we nominate our favourite. Is it real or is it in our minds parts of the film in a number of appearing and disappearing categories?
Best quote.
My favourite quote comes from Woody, and it's another example of one of my favourite things, a line that has two meanings. And he's talking to Emily and he says, "We're all kind of wandering spirits, you know?"
Right.
Talking about their hippie origins, but also he's talking to a genuine wandering spirit, which is great.
Yes. I found it very hard to pick out quotes in this movie because it's very just quite normal conversation. It's nothing that sounds like a movie quote.
No.
There's one thing I did want to point out, and it's the story that Emily tells them. And it's very odd. This is how it goes. There was this enormous cake that was terrorizing England, and it would ooze into the windows and into the doors and engulf people. It would eat everything in its wake. It was traveling down the coast of Scotland, and whenever it would come to a town or village, it would call out, "Here comes the cake. Here comes the cake." And I just thought, what is the story? Why are you telling it? And why are people enamored by it? So strange.
Yeah, it really is. I love the way that she says it as well. It's like, "Here comes the cake."
Best hair or costume.
I mean, this might also count as most 70s, but Woody, his entire facial... everything is so 70s and so... I mean, it's the disheveled, shaggy hair with the huge mutton chop sideburns and the massive 70s moustache. I mean, come on.
Porn stash, yeah.
Yeah. He's just 70s in the dictionary. That's what... He represents the 70s.
He does. Well, certainly the 70s hangover from the flower power generation.
Yeah.
Hair
and costume for you?
For me, I really love the huge beaded bib necklace that Jessica tries on in the attic.
Oh, yes.
Never seen one of these before. Apparently they were popular in the Victorian era and they made a comeback in the 70s as a way of sort of adding texture to very plain blouses or something. But it's just this whole thing that almost goes down to her navel and it's so intricate.
I thought she was wearing it wrong. I thought she just put it on thinking this is how you'd wear it, but I guess that's how it was worn?
Yeah, I think it is.
Most 70s moment.
Most 70s for me, I thought women on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Because there were a lot of them in the 70s, a lot in the 60s too, with Repulsion and Rosemary's Baby, but it carried on. So Images in 1972, Sisters, which we've done on this podcast.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Don't Look Now, which has Julie Christie going crazy in Venice. You have The Stepford Wives in 75, which is probably one of the best examples. And then Stephen King's Carrie in 1976.
Right, yeah. Right, well, most 70s for me, which I feel like it's an obvious choice, is the crash zooms, or just the use of zooms in every scene. Like, there are so many scenes that would start off with a tight zoom in, and you don't realize it until they've zoomed out quite far.
Yeah.
to the point where, like, wow, are we just advertising these Zoom functions or what's going on?
Favorite scene?
It's the scene towards the end of the movie where Jessica is walking through the house. So this is after she's escaped from Emily in the lake. She's gone into the room. She's hid in the room for a while, and then she comes out. And she's walking down the stairs, and she hears noises, and she has to walk past the double bass case, and she does. Nothing actually happens in it. She doesn't get attacked or anything, but the whole sequence is shot really well. There's a little bit of sound. There's some synth music in there as well in the score, but it just felt really unnerving, the entire scene. And I was like, this is a really well executed, scary scene, even though nothing happens in it.
Yeah.
But it worked really well.
It does. I mean, he has atmosphere in spades. If he wanted to recreate the kind of tense, unnerving, uncanny feeling that you have in Robert Wise's The Haunting, he nails it. I think he does a very good job of recreating that feeling. And then the thing that I love, my favourite scene, is just when the horror just explodes at the end of the movie. So Jessica returns with Duncan. They start having sex. She finds the scar on his neck, and suddenly Emily is there with a knife, cutting her and drinking the blood, whilst all the old men in the village surround the bed and chant. And it's like, oh my goodness, it's all happening now. I don't know. It's just, the whole movie just spirals out of control at that point. And I think it's a really satisfying payoff for all of the atmosphere that it's built up to that stage.
Right, yeah.
Most cliche moment.
Another element that Hancock was forced to include in his movie, a seance. You've got to have a seance.
Yeah. I groaned at that. I was like, no, don't have a seance. Why? Why would you do that?
So it's in The House That Dripped Blood in 1971. The Asphyx, I don't know how to pronounce that, in 1972. Don't Look Now, of course, that comes up a lot in this episode. The Legend of Hell House, which we've done. The Haunting of Julia, and of course the big blockbuster at the end of the decade, the Amityville Horror. Gotta have a seance. Never goes well.
I mean, nothing does happen in the seance, though.
No, it's fairly understated, isn't it? I think she hears the history of the house, doesn't she? In much the same way that you hear sort of a domineering father and a crying daughter in The Haunting. I think she does hear something, but she doesn't share it with anyone else. She keeps it to herself.
Yeah. The cliche for me would be the scary thing is seen, and then in the next shot, the scary thing is not there. So you've got the girl at the cemetery, or the girl on the rocking chair on the porch, I mean, it's great. You got to have it in horror. Yeah. I mean, you see it in 28 Weeks Later. It's still being used. It's still a cliche being used in horror now, but I kind of laugh at it now.
Really?
Because it's so overused, that technique.
Yeah, you do know as soon as they cut back to the character and they look away for a second, you think, okay, when you look back, it's not going to be there. And every time it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Best special effect.
I don't think there are that many special effects in this movie, but I'll say one image that I did find the most disturbing is the scene where they find Woody splayed over the tractor, dead, with blood and wounds all over him, and the crop spraying is still going, so he's sort of trundling along with this fan of toxic something spraying around.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a really great image, and the fact that after she's shocked when she discovers it, she stands still and the spray goes past her again and then shields it from view. I don't know, a visual effect, I guess. There's some makeup there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. There aren't hardly any effects. The one I would go for is, however, they did the girl in the lake scenes, because that is spooky as. I mean, did they weigh her down? Is she just like, I don't know, but yeah, she's submerged in the lake with her arms up, and she looks like she's standing or floating or something. But it's really spooky.
It is spooky. It's a dummy in the swimming pool of their motel.
Oh.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Favorite sound effect?
I mean, I've briefly mentioned it, but the interesting use of reverb in the scene with Emily playing, with her singing, it goes into this really echoey reverb at one point, I guess signifying Jessica just in her mind. And later on, when Emily's telling that story, there's some reverb used as well. I like that effect.
Yeah, it's very good. And mine is also one that I've mentioned before, which is the slow rising resonance sweep on the bass synth. In this case, particularly as Jessica is running away from Emily, it starts off really low, so it just sounds like it's a heartbeat, but it's actually a rhythmic synthesizer, and as the filter sweep comes up, that becomes clearer that it's part of the score, I think, but it almost sounds like sound design to begin with.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Most funniest moment?
For me, the funniest moment is when they are pulling into the town and there's a bunch of old geezers hanging around outside the local store or something, and you hear on the soundtrack somebody say, "Damn hippies." But if you look at the guys, they're all sort of smiling and happy, and none of their lips match that. So I don't know who is shouting "damn hippies."
Right.
So, I mean, "damn hippies" just made me laugh generally, but the fact that it doesn't match the performers that are on screen just made me giggle.
Okay. Funniest moment for me, I did find the crash zooming of the antique dealer just hilarious. But there's another scene that I wanted to mention is Emily, when she brings out her lute and starts playing it and singing. And it's clearly not her playing that lute.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a pet peeve of mine, seeing actors clearly not playing their instruments. Because her left hand is not moving. She's not changing any of the notes on the fretboard.
Right.
And you can hear the music changing chords and everything. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
At least pretend to change chords. But this is purely a pet peeve. I will hate a movie if it doesn't look like they're playing their instruments properly.
Yeah. That's our mood, please.
Yes.
Hi, this is Catherine Mary Stewart, and you are listening to Movie Oubliette.
It's time for the final verdict. Should Let's Scare Jessica to Death be freed from its prison of the mind and be brought into the light once more to hypnotize the masses? Or should it be drowned in the lake and dumped back into the oubliette to live the rest of its existence in obscurity with the chickens? Conrad.
The poor chickens.
What's your final verdict for Let's Scare Jessica to Death?
Well, this is one of those ones where I was really excited to discover it because it was a negative pickup that was bought by Paramount and released in 1971, and it kind of vanished after that. It had a mediocre reception, but it was beloved by horror enthusiasts. Like Stephen King name-checked it in his book Danse Macabre as a great film. And it's just right up my alley. It's spooky, atmospheric, uncertain, uncanny situation. It's a central female character who isn't sure if she's losing her mind with voiceover. It's deliberately paced. It has some really disturbing imagery in it and some squelchy analog synthesizers, resonance sweeping on the soundtrack. It's beautifully shot, okay, apart from the crash zooms. Very atmospheric. I was riveted throughout and found some of it really quite disturbing and really enjoyed the finale because all hell breaks loose. It's not ambiguous at all. It just goes for it, but just sort of leaves it on a note of mystery. You don't know what's going to happen next to Jessica, but she's escaped, very much like Alien with Ripley. So I was sold all the way through. I thought it's a really effective piece of filmmaking. It feels a little bit like a footnote because so many other great films clearly influenced it and so many other great films have clearly been influenced by it. But I loved it, and I do think it is, if you love this type of haunting country house in the middle of nowhere movie. This is an undiscovered gem that you may not have heard of, and it's now on Vinegar Syndrome in 4K. So if you want to experience it in crisp, beautiful, highest possible definition, you can. So yeah, I'd recommend it wholeheartedly.
Well, I am in two minds about this movie. I do appreciate that it's definitely a movie that came out before all the other movies that it probably influenced. There's a lot of great cinematography and atmosphere. The score was very interesting for me, being a synth enthusiast. So great to hear early synth in a film and not trying to sound like instruments as well, like just embracing its weirdness. I did enjoy the performances, especially of Zohra Lampert and Mariclare Costello. I don't know whether I enjoyed the film. I think it's very slow paced. Not a lot happens. If you're going into it thinking, oh yeah, gory exploitation movie, this is definitely not that movie, because that's kind of what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's not like I enjoy exploitation normally, but I just wanted a little bit more to happen. Like there isn't a lot that happens. It relies a lot on whispering, which is bordering on my pet peeve of not liking narration. Like I feel like you were just making the scene more uncomfortable just purely by adding a whispering, a voiceover. I don't know. It felt a little bit lazy to me. Like the director was doing horror but didn't know how to do horror. Some of the dialogue felt really clumsy and awkward. But yeah, I don't know. I do appreciate how it is definitely a low budget independent movie, and it does a lot with not very much. Like you've basically got one or two locations really. It's a house in the lake, for the most part. Barely any characters. So it does a lot with not much. But did I enjoy it? I'm not sure whether I did. I don't know whether I would recommend it. But I can see how it's influential. So I'm going to have to say I'll throw it back in.
Interesting.
Is that scandalous to say that?
I don't think so, no, because it very much depends on what you enjoy. And I think you had a similar experience. So I love The Haunting.
Right.
So anything where it's all inside a character's head and you're starting to lose your grip on reality, I absolutely love that. Whereas I think you found The Haunting quite slow-paced and wanted to see something, wanted more to happen.
Yeah.
So I think maybe this just ticks my boxes and it just leaves most of your boxes empty.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's just me wanting to see more blood or something. Like I wanted to see a gory horror movie, I guess, but that's not what it is. Yeah, it's understated. It's subtle.
It is. Well, that means that our patrons are all the more important than ever because they will need to be the deciding vote here.
Ooh.
Hello, Gary.
Good afternoon.
Patrons vote, please.
They set it free.
Oh, okay. I think it's a good choice to make.
I think so, yes. Jasmine, the ever-reliable Jasmine, said, it's one of those films with a fun title to say, like, I Dismember Mama and Stuff Stephanie in the Incinerator. But unlike those films, Let's Scare Jessica to Death is an intense and terrifying film, totally engaging and unpredictable, though why they couldn't just call the field mouse what it is instead of saying it is a mole is the film's biggest unanswered question.
Yes, that's what I want to know.
Indeed. Very well observed, Jasmine. The ever-reliable Chazilla was on the fence, however, much like you.
Ah, yes.
Thinking of abstaining from the vote because I just can't decide. I watched Let's Scare Jessica to Death twice and I'm not sure. It definitely has fever dream vibes. The music added atmosphere and suspense, but I just can't tell if Lampert was giving an Oscar-worthy One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest type Looney Tunes performance or couldn't act her way out of a wet paper bag.
Right.
So there you go. So it wasn't unanimous.
Okay.
But overall, our patrons set it free.
Okay.
Yeah.
They set it free.
Yeah. Let's just push off that boat so it can drift off into the sunset.
Let's go fertilize some apples.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Wow. Very exciting. So, Dan, I am not going to be here for the next episode.
Yes.
What will you do?
Well, I will be having a stand-in co-host, someone who the listeners do know quite well.
Yes.
He's been on the pod before.
Indeed.
But we will be doing the 2014, I think it's like a sci-fi, psychological drama, comedy, romance movie. It's called The One I Love.
Oh, not even heard of this one.
I've heard about it, but that's about it. I think I do know the premise, but I don't want to spoil it. It's directed by Charlie McDowell, and it's got Mark Duplass and Elizabeth Moss and Ted Danson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Interesting. So Charlie McDowell is Malcolm McDowell's son. Is that right?
I don't know.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
His parents are Malcolm McDowell and Mary Steenburgen. So Ted Danson is his stepfather.
Oh, okay. Right.
Wow. There you go.
And he's married to Lily Collins?
Yeah, apparently so.
Wow. It's a very famous family.
Indeed.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay. I'm intrigued. And I can't wait to listen to it.
Oh, yes. I am looking forward to checking out this film. I have heard good things. But listeners, if you want to keep up to date to all our releases, you can follow us as Movie Oubliette everywhere, or you can email us at movie.oubliette@gmail.com.
And if you want to keep us going, then please head on over to Patreon, where for as little as $1, you get access to bonus content, and at higher up levels, you can even vote on the final verdict and get access to our exclusive minisodes. Our most recent one was a look at The Hidden Two, Electric Boogaloo.
Yes, that was a experience that I don't want to repeat. We also have merchandise at Redbubble and a YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, give us a rating and review on whatever you're listening to us on. It does help us out quite a lot, and spread the word of the Oubliette.
Indeed. Until next time.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Have a lovely holiday, Conrad.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Bye, listeners.
Bye.
We review the films others tend to forget. Come with us and open up the movie Oubliette.
Here comes the cake. Here comes the cake.
Ya vienen los touchdowns. ¿Estás listo? Esta temporada de la NFL convierte las jugadas grandes en premios con DraftKings Sportsbook, un socio oficial de apuestas deportivas de la NFL. Descarga la app de DraftKings Sportsbook y usa el código HEART. Ese es el código HEART para recibir $200 en bonus bets al instante cuando hagas tu primera apuesta de $5. En colaboración con DraftKings, la corona es tuya. ¿Problemas con el juego? Llama al 1-800-GAMBLER. En Nueva York, llama al 877-8-HOPE-NY o envía un mensaje de texto con la palabra HOPE-NY al 467-369. En Connecticut, hay ayuda disponible para problemas con el juego. Llama al 888-789-7777 o visita ccpg.org. Juega responsablemente. En nombre de Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Debe ser mayor de 21 años. Pueden aplicarse cargos en Illinois. La elegibilidad varía según la jurisdicción. No válido en Ontario. Las apuestas de bonos son de un solo uso. La apuesta no se incluye en las ganancias y caducan después de ser otorgadas. La oferta finaliza el 29 de septiembre 2025 a las 11:59 p.m. hora del este. Los términos en DraftKings.com/sportsbook/promos.